Sometimes a plain t-shirt is boring, and even when you try to spice it up with, say, a scarf, it just doesn't work. So Sarah Shah is here, and she's going to show us how to give our old tees new life. So you've come up with some really cool ways to express ourselves with t-shirts, and the first one involves flowers?
Yes, it sure does.
Okay, what are we going to do?
So we're going to start with a plain t-shirt. It can be an old t-shirt or a new t-shirt, it doesn't matter. And then look around your house to see if you can find some old things that you don't need anymore that coordinate with it.
Cut each piece of fabric.
So make a stack of fabric.
So far, I'm with you, Sarah. I've got this.
Not too bad so far.
Normally, I'm not very artistic or creative, but I'm with you here. Pin a paper pattern of a flower on the stack.
Okay, so now we're just going to cut this out. And you don't even have to do a neat job cutting because a flower isn't perfect. So you don't have to be perfect either.
It's my kind of do-it-yourself.
And now we have this little stack of 3 flowers.
Now's where you're going to lose me a little bit.
Okay, here's some sewing. So my challenge is always, can I thread the needle?
Well, at least you only have one challenge.
Okay, so now all we're going to do is make one seam across the flower, basically cutting it in half. But there's 4 little stitches, and then just pull it.
No way. And then look, you make a little
pretty
flower. That's awesome.
Right, so you go from here, and then just pull it, and it automatically ruches, and all of a sudden it's a petal. So now just make a little knot back here.
You don't have to know how to sew to do
You
this.
seriously don't know how.
Really, that was pretty simple.
And if you want, you can stop there.
Okay.
If you're advanced, you can make a little bubble of fabric. I just grab a little bit of fabric, and I cut that bubble off. And make it like a little balloon. And then just make some stitches across here at the back.
So you just kind of seal the balloon.
Exactly. And you can just wrap the thread around if you don't want to do any more sewing. And tie a knot. I'm gonna wrap the little flower around the center and then stick some stitches through the back.
Look, I did it.
It looks good.
Repeat this process until 4 to 5 flowers are made.
This is like the 10-minute t-shirt.
The 10-minute. Well, it depends on who's working on the t-shirt. Now, what's our next step, Sarah?
So the next step is to put it on the t-shirt. Now it's really tempting to lay these flowers right on your t-shirt.
Right.
Because that looks good, right?
Yeah, it does look good.
What I discovered when doing this at home is when I sewed them there, it didn't always look good once I put it on. So it actually works better to place the flowers when you have the t-shirt on your body.
Pin the flowers on the shirt and then change back out of the shirt. Okay, so now we're just going to sew the flowers onto the shirt?
Right. So you don't have to do a great job sewing, you just want the flowers to stay on and stay on in the wash. And what we want to do is we want to basically make a stitch in the middle of each of the petals.
All right, we're finished.
And I made one too, so we can be twins. We can wear them together. For this t-shirt, I was inspired by this fringe t-shirt by Alberta Macaulay.
Okay, so we're going to make something similar with a t-shirt.
Right.
All right.
And the fringe is going to start at the bust line down so it doesn't add more volume.
Place the t-shirt around an ironing board.
So what we're going to do is we're going to fold the hem up so that the hem is right at the bust line.
Okay.
And then fold it again. So we folded it twice over itself, and now we're just going to pin it in place.
And we do that because we want to make sure that all of our fringe is even on our t-shirt.
So now we're going to cut each fringe right through the fold.
Fun, okay.
So it's only going to take a little cut for each fringe.
And you're going to go all the way up and cut the fold.
Right. Make each one about a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch, whichever you can do. And it works best actually with a t-shirt that's probably one size too small, because as you make these cuts, it loosens up the t-shirt.
Now I notice that you're doing something that's really important. You're going through and making sure that this is flat as you cut, because as you cut, this is getting a little bit wrinkled.
Because if there's a wrinkle, it means that your fringe is going to have a
Wrinkle.
You want to do some?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get ready for a slow motion. Oh.
That's what happens. So when you get up to the hem, just go a little slower. It's okay. It's fringe. It doesn't matter.
Just ruined the shirt.
You did not ruin the shirt.
After a while, bam, 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 I hand it over to Sarah to finish.
Okay, so now pull out your pins.
I think this is super cute, but I think if I were to wear this to work, I'd be sent home immediately.
Yeah, you definitely need to put it over something. Okay. Or a bathing suit. I love this. It's a thermal with an embellished sleeve from Free People, but their shirt doesn't fit me. So I tried to find a way to make something inspired by that would work on me.
Okay, and you're going to show us how to do it right now?
Yep.
Awesome. Where do we start?
So I started with just a plain thermal shirt, and then I found some old clothes that kind of coordinated with it. So, and what I'm doing is I'm looking for things with cool sleeves. So I thought this was a really cool cuff.
Yeah, because it's got the ruffles already done for us.
Exactly. So the idea here is to choose things that already have good sewing and take advantage of it.
So we don't have to do it. Amen.
And I've been obsessed with stripes lately, so I thought that this pulled these two together really well. And then I also found this old lace shirt that had some buttons.
Cute. Cut the ruffles and a little extra fabric past the seam from the black shirt. Cut the striped shirt to the elbow. Layer the black ruffled cuff under the sleeve of the thermal. Line up the seams and pin. Then add the striped shirt over, lining up the seams and pinning again.
And I think it would be cool to have something on the outside.
Like a little embellishment of some sort.
Yeah. So I thought that these buttons might be cool.
Cut a little past the seam of the buttons on the black lace shirt.
So this way I can just fold back the lace and I have a really nice edge.
Pin the button strip onto the sleeve on the opposite side of the seams.
I want to make sure that my buttons are pretty straight,
Okay.
that they don't go off at a wonky angle. So I just want to look at the distance between the buttons and my seam and make sure that that's about the same. So I just want to make sure that they match up and that they're the same length.
All right, clearly the one that we're making is a little bit too long.
Yes.
So we're going to cut.
So first I'm going to cut the stripe fabric and then I'm just going to fold the button fabric underneath it. Now comes the sewing. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to sew down the one side of the buttons, around here, back down the buttons, and then around here.
And finally,
there they are.
That looks awesome. How fun. And then you had a little extra time, so you added a little detailing to the collar.
Yeah, I thought it needed a little bit more balance. Just doing the sleeves by themselves is a little odd. So this makes it a finished garment.
I love it. For details on these DIYs, go to livewellnetwork.com.